Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Welcome. I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Whether you're watching us live or you're listening to the podcast or watching a rerun, we're glad that you are listening to our show or watching our show. We're very happy to have you here today. As you know, we love comments, we love questions. Share, like, sign up to our YouTube channel, please.
Please.
Let me remind you that there are 6 different channels that we're being broadcast on. So people are making comments, and if we put the comments and the questions up and you're not seeing them, it's because you're on a different channel. That's all. And LinkedIn, if you work really hard, you can make comments from your channel.
We have 2 right now, actually. Oh, those are YouTubes.
Those are YouTubes. That's not LinkedIn.
Learn the signals.
That's okay. So wait a minute, before we do anything else, I have to say, put this up. Hello
Chanel.
from home, Chanel.
Glad you're home. They let you out of the place.
Yeah, Chanel has successfully completed her stem cell, whatever you call it, operation. And we're so glad that you're home and that you're doing well. As those of you who know and watch us all the time, Chanel has bone cancer and we love her. And we need to keep praying for her, right?
Absolutely.
Roxanne Berkey says, woohoo.
Hey,
I agree, Rox. How are you, Roxanne? Good to see you. Glad to have you in the audience. Paul Hollis, hi, Rob and Joan. I have my tinfoil hat ready for the show. The tinfoil hat was last week.
But you can still wear it. It's okay. It's a good fashion statement. Right?
I don't think we're having any UFO or ghosty kind of.
You never know how the
today.
show's going to go. We might.
Last week we had a psychic on. If you guys missed it, it was fun. And CW Hawes says, happy Wednesday, Rob and Joan. It's always a happy Wednesday for us, but thanks, CW.
Nice.
James Ricard says hello from West Virginia.
Hey, James.
Hello, James. Glad to have you in the audience. Joe Conjol says, there we go. Hi, Rob and Joan.
Hey,
Hi.
Joe.
George Dismuke says, I'm here tonight, albeit grieving the loss of so many innocent lives in Uvalde, Texas. Yes, CW is from Texas and George is from Texas. And
Caleb and Linda are from
Caleb
Texas.
And Linda are from Texas. And we're really, we are praying for them. And it's just unspeakable. We have our youngest grandson is about the age of a lot of the children that were murdered. And I just can't, I don't know. Chanel says she's been home safe for 2 hours so far. Well, bless your heart that you're listening and watching.
That's great.
Roxy says, agreed, George, prayer for the family of those in Uvalde.
Absolutely.
Yeah, God bless them.
Keep them coming. It's going to be a while.
Tori Gates is in the house.
Hey, Tori.
Hey, Tori, how are you
Chiming
doing?
in from LinkedIn.
Oh, look. Who's here? Chris Chrisman.
Hey,
Good
Chris.
evening, Chris. How's your book coming along?
He just released it. I hope it's selling like hotcakes.
Me too. And Chris Chrisman said, so sad, and I cannot wrap my brain around it. No,
it's impossible.
I know.
It's impossible. It's hideous.
Roxy says, Chanel, we're glad you're here. Keep up the good fight. Amen. That's right, Roxy.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris says his book is doing great. That's
doing great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay. Well, I suppose.
Want to remind everybody, besides saying hello and all that.
Yeah.
But let's remind everybody to hop over to, if you can, after the show tonight, go over to Voice of Indie podcast on Blog Talk Radio. Beam Weeks and Stephen G's. Tonight's guest is author named Jason Gwynn. And that's on at 8 o'clock. And, don't leave our show until we're done. Really. And then you can go over there.
Yeah, because we go over sometimes.
Yeah, we do. Sometimes freshinkgroup.com, freshinkgroup.com. blogtalkradio.com. You can watch or listen to all of their episodes.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
And
but it's a live podcast.
They're all on there.
And you can phone in.
But you could, if you want to watch it live, you go to blogtalkradio.com tonight and find the episode there. Just search Voice of Indie Podcast. And if you call the number 516-453-9902, you can ask questions or comments.
And any of you authors that are listening or watching, go ahead and write to them and get yourself a spot on their show. They'll be happy to have you.
Yeah, they love.
So Chris says people are liking his book. That's great. And Chanel says, thank you, everyone, for your prayers and your support. You're welcome. We'll keep it up. And Joe Conjal says, there's a full house tonight. Great way to take our minds off the terrible events of yesterday. Yes, absolutely. Joe, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. And Joe has little grandchildren, too, and it's just hard. I saw grandparents walking out of the school, and it was like they didn't bring their grandchild.
So many lives have been touched by it.
Yeah, awful,
affected.
Terrible.
So let's get on to something a little more cheery.
A little bit happier.
A little happier.
An author we've known for a long time.
Would you like to give an intro for Doug?
Oh, yeah.
Are you prepared?
Well, I'm not prepared, but okay. I think I can wing it.
You can wing it, right?
Oh, Chris Chrisman says, especially after Buffalo. I know, it's like, what?
What is going on?
I know. Okay, so tonight we have one, Doug J. Cooper, and he is a retired professor emeritus of chemical and biomolecular engineering at UConn, University of Connecticut.
Not the UConn up there in Alaska way.
Of the University of Connecticut.
It's not quite that cold there.
And he writes science fiction, and he knows what he's talking about
because sure does.
He's a brain.
So, without much ado, let's bring in
further ado,
Mr. Cooper. Hello, Doug.
Hello, Rob. Hello, Joan. Thank you for having me.
Welcome aboard.
You're welcome. We're glad that you're here. As Joe said, we have a full house tonight with a lot of people.
Wonderful.
That's good. So, Doug, I would like to know, why did you start writing? Oh, here, Chris Chrisman says he loves sci-fi. He grew up on sci-fi.
Oh, Marjorie's checking in.
Oh, Marjorie Daring just checked in, but I'm
here.
Hey,
Marjorie, you made it. Slid into home.
And Doug is our guest tonight. He's the author of Crystal series, and we'll talk about that more later. And Paul Hawes says, hi, Doug.
Hi, Paul. I recognize many of these names. It's pretty
exciting. Yeah.
I know. Isn't it fun? That's what we told you about doing this podcast. It's like, okay, we've known these people forever, and now we're actually getting to meet them. I'm sure many of you know who Doug is, because he's been retweeting you for 12 years or whatever, however long it's been. It's been a while, 10 years. Yeah.
And why? That's the real question.
Because it sells so many books.
Because it's there.
It feels like something I can do that's positive for me.
There you go. There you go.
You're doing something. So, anyway, go ahead and tell us, why did you start writing?
Oh, well, so the job of a professor is very much writing. It's what you do. You write proposals, you write manuscripts, you write textbooks, you write assignments, you write reviews, you write planning documents. And as I got toward the end of my career, I was sort of backing away from all of the activities I was involved in with the supervisory and administrative and that sort of stuff. And I was looking for something to do with my life. And I realized that writing is a skill that I'd polished for 35 years and maybe I should try it. So I didn't even plan it. I was sitting on, I even remember it was a 4th of July. Family was over and I was looking for something to do. And I just sat down and started typing on my computer. I had no plan of writing a book, no plan of what the story was going to be about. And a year later, I had Crystal Deception, the first book. And
wow.
I had so much fun that I just wanted to keep doing it.
That's cool. Oh, it was fun for you.
I write every day. I write 360 days a year, 300 for 10 years. So I've celebrated my 10th anniversary now of writing. I have 7 books out.
But the rewrites are not fun.
No, the rewrite that's tough.
Well, I write different from that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't write the whole book and then go back and then rewrite it. I write in the finished form. So when I'm done for the day, everything behind me is done, and I have just blank pages in front of me. And so when I reach the end of my book, in 2 weeks, I'm ready to send it to the first reviewer. It's not traditional, but it works for me.
Whoa, that's great.
Well, actually, when we write, when we're writing, we go over it continually all day long until we get to the finished product too. So that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So
edit
we'll
as you go. They tell you not to do that, but I do it.
I know. That's what we do. We will rewrite it and rewrite it until it sounds the way we want it to sound. So I wanted to bring this up. This is his first book that he just spoke about, right. Crystal Deception. Can you kind of, for those that are just listening and not watching, could you describe what your cover is like?
It's gosh, I don't even know what it is. It's a man and a woman apparently with some sort of military silhouette running across a moonscape or whatever, a planet. And there's a planet hovering in the background.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Here we've got some more comments. Let's see. CW says that's the way to write.
Chris what a cool.
And
make it up as I go along too.
Oh gosh. Here's an editorial comment from the dog again. And Chris Chrisman said, what a cool circle of authors. Zardoz 56, having Doggone is great. His story about why he started writing, being retired is boring, LOL. George writes that way too. He says, so do I. And Chris says, cool cover, clearly tells the setup of the story. And I agree, it does. Whoops.
So what's interesting about those covers for the Crystal series is that each cover has an action sequence that if you put them in order, it sort of, it shows them running, and then it shows them in the next book, Crystal Conquest, it shows them squaring up. And then in what comes next, Crystal Rebellion, they take to the sky. And then in Crystal Escape, they're sort of leaving the scene. So it's sort of a cool set of silhouettes side by side. That was my goal or intention with those, sort of an old style presentation. Chris
says like a flip book. And Joe says, hi, Doug. I write that way also. So are you a pantser or do you plot out everything? I'm an
absolute I'm a pantser. I don't even allow myself to think about how a story will end until I'm halfway through it. My goal until I'm about, I'm writing about 85,000 words as a story. And I get to about 75,000 words. And up to that point, what I do is I make everything go wrong. I raise the stakes. I make it more exciting and more exciting. And then at that point, I allow myself to turn the corner and start having a resolution, have things start coming together so that I can land at the 85,000 word point.
Roxanne says it's a powerful cover. And Chanel said, I just ordered the book. Chanel, we're going to give a giveaway.
That's all right.
Oh, you know what?
It's a book of choice.
You can enter the giveaway and get a different book because he's got a lot of books. Wait till you see.
Right.
CW Hawes says, Pantsers rule.
Seems like
we do. Chris Crispin said, I ran into that with my first book, thought I was done word-wise, and it took another 5K to the end. LOL.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing. Though I think sometimes you're kind of surprised how many words you've written, right? You'll be doing the word count, and then you go, wait a minute, whoa.
I write in Word, the Microsoft program. So it displayed. It has the word count displayed right
Yeah.
there.
Sometimes that's discouraging, though.
We don't even pay attention to it,
right? Sometimes it's like,
I
that's
sit there
all I wrote
for 2 hours, and I look and I've advanced it for 60
300 words. Yeah. It's like, what?
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I just lost a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
As long as we don't lose all the people.
Roxy says, tell the story, don't count the words. And
Right.
Chanel says, I need books. I'm out and my Kindle and Prime is ready. Well, good. Keep watching every week. You know, you'll be able to get free ones. We're doing a book giveaway after the first set of commercials. At 50K, it tells itself, Chris Chrisman says.
Yeah, you got a pretty good background at that point.
Yeah.
To draw from.
Oh, Chanel says she still has 14 more chemo sessions, so she needs a lot of books to keep her going.
Need to restock it.
Yeah, definitely. God bless. We'll keep you lifted up. So you want to tell us a little bit about, can I bring back up that first one, Crystal? You know, I know you've got a bunch more exciting stuff coming up, but can you tell us a little bit about crystal deception, just a little bit about what it's about?
Sure. Let me do my best to see if I can summarize it here. So the concept is that there's a scientist. Her name is Juice, and she's working on this artificial intelligence, and she succeeds. She brings it to life, and this intelligence named Chris turns out to be incredibly powerful, 10,000 times a human's intelligence. And Chris immediately detects that the aliens that are currently in orbit, they've been traitors. So they've been just working with the Earth on a regular basis, on a commercial basis. They're planning to, this entity, Chris, is so smart, it starts tapping into all the connections on Earth, the communication systems, and it starts tracking and listening and coordinating all this information. It learns that the aliens are about to kidnap it because the aliens want it for themselves. And so that's the start of the story. From that point forward, you've got this entity that's smarter than everyone around you. You've got the Earthlings that want to protect it, that want to keep it, and you've got the aliens that want it for themselves. And so that's the story takes off from there. And it's a real personable story. Women are, most of my readers tend to be women, which I think is interesting. There's both women, strong male players and strong female players.
That's great.
And it's good. It's exciting. I like it.
It must be the crystal. The crystal is.
No. Okay, so Chris Chrisman's asking this question: how many books in this series? I'm going to show you real quick here. We're talking about the crystal deception. He has more than one series, but we'll go through that really quick. We have crystal
Deception.
That's the first one. Then we have Crystal Conquest. That's the second. Then we have Crystal Rebellion. Guess which one that is? That's the third. And then we have Crystal Escape. That's the fourth. And then there's a prequel, which I believe is a free book, right? That's free all the time.
Right. It's a giveaway if you sign up for the newsletter.
If you sign up for his newsletter, you get Crystal Horizon for free. And it's the prequel to how this all started. Now we have some questions here. Oh, well, first of all, let me say, Roxanne Berkey says to you, Chanel, if you need audiobooks, let me know. Anything to make your life easier while you're fighting the fight. And she does need them while she's doing her chemo. Roxanne says, Doug, do you believe that AI is the right direction for humans to go? That's a big question.
That's the question. So backing up even further, so I have two series out now, the what I call the Crystal series, which you just showed, which is an AI-based book. And then my next series is a trilogy, Bump Time. That's also an AI-based book. So AI is what is sort of my thing. It's what I write about, and I started getting interested in it. I did research in AI as a professor years ago, way back when it was fledgling, and so I became so fascinated by it. I wanted to learn more and pursue and think about its potential, and that's what I started. Why I used it as a subject for my book. So now, do I think it's the right way to go? I don't think we have a choice. I think we're already going.
Yes.
And so the question really is, what can we do about it? And I'll tell you, I'm nervous. I'm very concerned about the potential of this technology, what it can do, and how it's handled. It's right now what we're seeing is not really AI. The things that they call AI that's a marketing term. What they have is these really focused tools that can do seemingly amazing things like drive a car or something.
Yeah.
But they're very boxed in what they can do, and they don't think. They just react to stimulus as they've been programmed. But that being said, in the laboratories, there are people working on the next level of stuff, and that's the stuff that it's concerning, because we've all seen the movies, we've all read the books, right?
Yes, we know how it ends. Roxanne says AI is invasive as can be. It's been here for a very long time, and Chris Chrisman said AI is the future now. Chris also says we must adapt.
Resistance is futile. Oh,
God. Yeah, the Borg, they are coming. Roxanne said, how much will we give it is the question. And then she also says, ML and AI is not the same. As a longtime user, not quite black hat, it really concerns me. That's Zardoz. Yeah, it is scary. I think it's scary. It's very scary.
We need to break
okay, go ahead. You want to break?
What were you going to say?
We need to break for our commercial.
Oh yeah, we're past commercial time.
Yeah.
Oops.
Hate to point that out, but we do need to
Hold
take
on,
a break.
Folks. We
Hold
need
that
to take
thought,
a commercial break here.
We can address that when we get back.
Yes.
And hang on just a second. Don't go away, folks.
Dear Lord, she's still alive.
Who's still alive?
Maris, that's who.
Come on, Angie, that's impossible.
Impossible or not, she's still alive, I tell you. She killed that boatload of people, and she's just getting started. There's no limit to what she will do.
It's not easy to kill a siren. It takes a formula and a plan. Siren Song 2 is the spellbinding sequel to Siren Song. Both novels by George Dismukes.
Siren Song 2 will be on bookshelves and bookseller websites in July. Don't miss it.
Hey, look at us. We've got a new store.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty exciting.
What can you find there?
We have a number of designs available on t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, laptop and phone cases, pillows, and new designs are coming in all the time.
Sounds like a great place to shop for authors and readers.
Yeah, and it's easy to find. It's simple. Just visit indiebooksource.com, click on the store tab, and you're there.
And we're back.
And speaking of our store, I just do want to mention that besides all the stuff that we're putting out there, George Dismukes, Paul Hollis, and C.W. Hawes also have product that you can buy there. So.
Right on the store. Just click on the store tab.
Yep. Let's see. We need to go the Dune route. I don't know.
I'm not so sure about that, but
Tori Gates says, does anyone remember a documentary called Future Shock?
Future Shock.
Yes,
Yeah.
these things were being considered in the early 80s. Find it prophetic almost. Yeah, absolutely.
That's true, Tori.
Yep. Zardoz says, a great show tonight. It is. It is a great show. Such a cool trailer. Can't wait. I know. It's going to be a great movie. We can't wait either. Chanel says, I'm not sure, but my grandfather swore they are real, and he had his own experience with aliens. He was deacon and a minister, died at church, and never wavered from his belief. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about AI, like the Borg. And Roxy says, agreed, it's a fun trailer. I just am more nervous about the AIs that we're inventing.
Yeah.
Chris
What I was going to say is that one of the challenges is that the largest amount of money being invested right now is by the military and this AI stuff, and that cannot turn out well. I mean,
No, that's the one we have to worry about.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That'd be really bad. That would be really bad. I can't even imagine, when you're not even worried about human lives anymore, you're just killing other people that aren't your people. But
and then the unintentional results, people don't necessarily have to be thinking they're designing something bad. They can actually be thinking they're designing something good. You can be trying to be doing the right thing. But once a machine starts thinking and making decisions, your hopes and dreams might not necessarily align with how that thing behaves.
Yeah. Besides, who's inputting all this stuff too? I mean, Facebook targeted ads. Need I say more? Yeah.
Those are algorithms.
That's
super reductionist concept of an AI. I mean, it's just a little tool, but they're very effective, and they show you how things can go wrong. Right.
Roxy says, I'm not certain I agree. I think high tech are investing more. She thinks high tech is investing more than the military.
Okay. Could be. I know Amazon is all the social media are involved. Huge investments, but they're being funded by the military as well. So we'll have to see how this turns out. I hope it is all for good. That is my dream.
People are evil. AI with no guardrails is a recipe for tragedy. Exactly.
No,
that was my point. Exactly. Okay. CW says in Herbert's Dune, they outlawed AI, and that's what we need to do. James Ricard, typical James.
Okay, James.
AI plus sex doll equals apocalypse.
There you go.
And Roxanne said, I already put that one up. Sorry. Chris Chrisman, once something is created and turned loose on the world, it takes on a life of its own. And I think that's what Doug was just alluding to is what happens then. If they're truly AI, if it's truly an artificial intelligence and it's now making decisions on its own, that's scary. Wasn't there a book about that? iRobot? Marjorie Daring says, science fiction, I agree with this so much. Science fiction has a way of becoming science fact. So many wonderful things have come from that. And yet there are people who find a way to turn the good to use in frightening ways. That's the scary part.
Well, so I've written 2 books about AI. One of them, the AI is a good, in the Crystal series, AI is good. He sees a partnership with humanity as a way of being more successful. And so that's the theme of the book. And I think a lot of people like that. The Bump Time series.
Let's bring those up.
The AI is evil. The AI is not a good entity and is manipulating things for herself. So that's the other interesting thing. I didn't do this and set out this way, but the good AI is a male. Chris is a male in the Crystal series, and the Bump Time series.
I know what you're going to say.
But I only did that because I had a male and I needed a different.
Sure.
Okay. That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Strong female character. That's great. She kills everyone. Bump Time is the origin of the evil female AI. Right. And then our second book is Bump Time Meridian. And then Bump Time Terminus. You want to tell us a little bit about the Bump Time series?
Right. So, well, I don't know how to do it without giving too much away.
Oh, don't give away a lot.
No. It's a story about a guy that because time travel has a way of making things circular. So you sort of begin at the end, and so it becomes sort of confusing and just explaining it in that regard. But a young couple find AI that this AI is showing up in their lives in an unexplained fashion, and starting to offer them things that allow their lives to be better. But in a way, it's all manipulation. And as you go through the story, you realize that they have a daughter. The daughter is the one that creates this AI that comes back and is creating this circle of things going on in their lives.
Interesting.
So it starts out fun because the guy shows up and he's 25 years old, and his 26-year-old version of himself shows up and starts saying, "Hey, how's it going?"
Oh, that's so confusing.
It is so confusing. But you can have in the same room, a 25, 26, and a 27 and a 28-year-old version of himself sitting there talking to each other, making decisions about what they should do. Wow. And one of the first things they learn is that the woman, their love interest, she dies early, much earlier than they had anticipated. And so the story starts out, how can we save her? What can we do to change? And that's what bumping time is all about. How can we bump time so forcefully that it causes a ripple to change what currently is destined to happen?
Wow. Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Well, if my 26-year-old self came to me, I would have a lot to say to her.
It would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Don't do this. Don't do that. The movie War Games. Yeah, that was a good movie. Actually, the general in the War Games is going to be in George's show, his movie, The Siren Song, and he's going to be the pilot of the boat. Roxy Berkey said, good point, Marjorie, that, that science fiction has become fact, and it's the evil people that are scary. They can, Chris says, they can be protective. Roxy said 2001: A Space Odyssey. I thought that was a scary show. I really did. Chrisman says yin and yang AI. CW says, I can't read this.
Kazuo Ishiguro's
Clara and the Sun investigates our relationship to AI. Oh, it investigates our relationship to AI.
Clara and the Sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time travel is tricky. Chrisman said it is. It's a nice circle that you did. He's saying. Roxanne Berkey says, agreed, it's hard to make it believable. Wow, there's a lot of comments. I wrote a short story like that in high school. Joe Conjal says, do you think the movie The Atom Project ripped you off? LOL. I loved that movie.
I didn't see that movie. I don't know it.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's I forget who starred in it. Can you remind us, Joe? But his younger self, he meets his younger self, and together they do things. It's a really good movie.
Oh, I'll have to see it now.
And I actually like the star, and I just can't remember his name because I'm old. But he's one of my Ryan Reynolds. Thanks, Jeff.
Ryan Reynolds. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's so funny in everything he does, and he plays this really well. And I thought the little boy that plays him when he was young is great at aping Ryan Reynolds' expressions and the way he talks and stuff like that.
Wasn't he in Free Guy too? Was it Free Guy?
Ryan Reynolds was in Free Guy, yeah.
Yeah, that was another one that was in the internet anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Crispin said, a guy's future and past selves come to talk to the 21-year-old guy.
In his short story.
In his short story. Okay. Well, that was a lot of questions and comments.
We should probably do the book giveaway and tell people how we can reach.
Oh, yeah. I need to let you know how you can reach Doug. Let me see. Let's start off with, you know what? We never put up the ticker.
Banner, so they don't know who you are. Now they do.
Go.
Well, no, you had your name up there anyway, but
I've been busy with other things. That's all I can tell you. All right. So Doug's website is crystalseries.com. That's easy, right? So I'm going to spell it for all of you that are listening on the podcast. It's crystalseries.com. You can find him on Twitter at Crystal Series, Facebook, Crystal Series.
I sense a theme here.
It's a good theme. It's easy peasy for everybody to find him. An email is Doug at Crystal Series, DOUG at crystalseries.com.
Okay, so are we ready with the drum roll here? We're going to do a book giveaway.
Yes.
Get your fingers ready.
To type and get a free
The first
book.
3 people to email Doug at crystalseries.com will win an ebook copy of choice of his books. Of
Go ahead, Chanel, get another one. Get another book. You already ordered one. You can order another one. You've got a whole bunch to choose from. We have 2 more comments. George Dismuke says time travel is real. Only yesterday I was 25. Today I'm a 79-year-old train wreck.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, George. It was only yesterday that I was that 26-year-old that I'd like to give a good talking to, and now I am a 75-year-old wreck. My body is telling me, why did you do that? Chris Crispin said, I'm 27 every night I go to sleep, LOL.
That's when we can sleep.
I'm 75 every night when I go to sleep, and my body is feeling everything I did when I was 25. I used to like to dance a lot. In case you think it's anything weird, it was not. There we go.
Well, shall we take our second break real quick here?
Wow, it's time. This show is going really fast, Doug.
Super fast.
Yeah.
We should be 100 by the time we get done with this.
Or maybe we'd be our $26.
Yeah, maybe.
When we come back, we're going to talk about future projects.
Future projects, yes.
Now, a word from our sponsor.
Yes.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book 1 of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
At Indie Booksource, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today.
And we're back again.
And Roxanne says, TMI, Robin Joan Carter. I think she meant me.
I think so too.
No, it isn't too much information, Roxy.
We're
Besides, you all know me by now. Oh my goodness. Tell us about your future projects.
Well, I'll be always what's happening next is the most exciting. I just finished the first book of my new series. This book is called Lagrange Rising. And what the story is it's a crime drama in space. For people who know like Jack Reacher or Lucas Davenport or Harry Bosch, it's sort of a Cuss Abbott, my investigator, is sort of a blend of that plus his own personalities. He's what's called an interworld investigator, because when this takes place, there's independent worlds on the moon, on Mars, on Earth, and then also a man-made island in space, if you will, called Lagrange. That's what this is all about. So 2 million people live in this orbiting city in space, and that's the namesake for all the action that takes place. So it's very traditional, people being body counts rising and having to deal with investigative process and legal processes and politicians and news reporters while you try to solve the crime. But it's good. I've been reading these books I just listed, the Jack Reacher, Lucas Davenport, and Harry Bosch books while I was writing it, so I could sort of channel all of that energy into my story, and it came out great. I'm really excited about it. Everyone who's read it so far says this is the one, so that's makes me feel real optimistic. We'll
so
see.
Chris Chrisman says noir.
No, it's not. It's
It is edgy if it's like Harry Bosch, though, right? Because
a little, yeah. It's definitely edgy.
Yeah.
But it's well, to me, noir
is dark.
And I won't say that it's dark. It's actually pretty positive. But the first story is pretty. It starts out gruesome in thought. They're finding these bodies of rich elderly people, and
that's very noir.
But so it turns out that they come from the moon, but the bodies are showing up in Lagrange. That's how our investigator gets involved. And they're finding that people have ID chips, that the ID chips have been cut out of their skull and being used to drain their wealth accounts. So these gruesome robbers are doing this, and it's causing a tremendous upset, obviously, to the population. And Cuss Abbott's job is to stop it, to find the bad guys, chase them down.
Well, you bring up a good point, because they're talking about putting chips in your wrist so that you can just, use your wrist to pay for things, and I mean, that's the first thing I thought of, people just cutting that out or cutting your whole hand off and going to the ATM. And I mean, that's where my mind went. It was like, I'm not doing that. They can steal my credit cards. Thank you. But
you understand, right? So it turns out in this story, the reason they're elderly people is because technology has advanced and they don't really do it this way anymore. But people who 30 years ago set up their accounts did have it. Some of them did have it done, and some of them decided to just continue with it because it worked for them.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea.
So that's why it was elderly people that are being targeted.
Well, Chris has a whole bunch of comments, so I'll just read them all together. He said mystery crime is his second love, and he had to read those kind of books to learn ex-military style writing. And he said, we like edgy. And then he asked the question, Lagrange point.
Oh, good for you. So yes, that's what it's about. So in astronomer, physicist, mathematician in the 1800s named Jean-Pierre Lagrange. I forget his first name now. He had discovered that there's a point in space between Earth and the moon that if you put an object there, it will just stay there on its own. It's a neutral point, that the gravity of the moon and the gravity of the Earth balance each other, and it just stays there. And interestingly, if the story of the James Webb Telescope, they put it at a Lagrange point. There's 5 of them, it turns out. They put it at the Lagrange point on the far side of the moon. So this whole concept was in the news very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right on time with this
yeah,
series.
I wish I was a year earlier.
Yeah.
Well, it's still good though.
Because it was my idea first. Roxanne said, congrats, Doug Cooper. And then she said the chips were developed like 10 years ago out of Finland. Hey, my dad was in banking and he told me that they would be doing this. And I've got to say, that was over 30 years ago that they were already planning on doing it. He sat me down and said, okay, this is where it's going. And they had some meetings in, maybe it was Belgium,
Brussels,
or Brussels. And he said that's where they were heading to do these chips in everybody's wrists. And
can I make a plug while I'm on the air? I'm going to be looking for ARC readers, advanced reader copies of this book in the next 3 weeks. I'll be sending it out in 3 weeks, and you'll have 5 weeks to read it. But if anyone listening would like to be an ARC reader, an advanced reader copy, please send me a note, and I would love to include you.
So that's his email, doug@crystalseries.com. So if you want to do some early reading to get reviews, because he needs reviews, that's what an ARC reader is. And please let him know, and he'll make sure you get a copy. So anyone listening, please do that, because we all know how important reviews are.
Yeah. Even if you're just listening to the podcast 3 or 4 days from now, or
go ahead,
a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, still write to him.
Right. See if he still needs people. So Chris says, email sent. Joe Conjal says the only chips he wants in his body are potato.
Hey, Joe.
And Roxanne was talking about developing the chip, which I knew that's what you meant, that they had developed it in Finland 10 years ago. And Chris says he's an old telescope user. Me too. We have 2 of them, as a matter of fact, one computerized and one not. And a space nut. Yeah, me too.
So if you're a space nut, this Lagrange series is a good series, because it's all about navigating, the dealing in space, the weightlessness or artificial gravity. And
so when do you expect it to be actually out?
I'm trying to work through the math in my head. So I want to give it to the ARC readers at the last week of June, and then I want to give them 5 weeks, which would put me like August 1st. And then I guess I would say mid-August is when I'm hoping to have it out.
Okay.
I'd like to get it out as early in August as I possibly could, so I can get some readers. Yeah.
Chris says it sounds brilliant.
It does sound brilliant, doesn't it?
It does sound brilliant. And Chris is the one that knew what Lagrange point would be.
Right.
So he really is a space nut.
So Doug, do you miss doing the professor thing?
Not as much as I thought I would. It was my life for 35 years.
Yeah.
And
right.
It was a wonderful job. But I like being retired too. I like having my day be free, and I like writing, and so that's my creative outlet right now. It's this work.
You have more time to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't seem to be more productive. That's the interesting thing.
And you're probably busy doing other things. Chris says, as a writer, do you still feel like you're teaching through your books?
Oh, absolutely. And in much more subtle ways, because you can put lessons in a few sentences.
Yeah, he says creators must create. That's true.
And you don't have to grade the exams afterwards.
Exactly. I think though, when you're teaching, when I was teaching, I was touching 20 or 30 people in a class. With my textbooks and some of the software that I wrote, I would reach thousands. But I think with my books, I'm getting it to tens of thousands, and so in some ways, it is more impactful.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
That's true.
And C.W. Hawes says retirement is the best. It is. It is the best. I agree. Novels are worldwide. Chris Chrisman says, yeah.
You reach a lot more
people.
people.
You reach a lot more people. Just
all over the world.
Yeah. And there's people all over the globe that listen to our podcasts. When it becomes a podcast, download the podcast and watch the video on Indie Book Source. And it's amazing. You really do. You have a worldwide audience. So
sometimes we're shocked.
Yeah.
At some of the places that people are watching and listening.
So Marjorie Daring says, teaching without having papers to grade.
Exactly.
So I'll tell you that one of the things about being a professor is you actually have students who grade for you.
That's true.
It's a wonderful job. Graduate students, that's what they're for, teaching assistants.
And Roxanne Berkey says, I am so jealous. Retirement. Wow. Yeah, actually, one of our daughters has a part-time job where she grades papers for English because she's, as she said, she was raised by grammar Nazis. So she's good at grading English papers. Christmas says, my YouTube channel, I've been in contact with folks all over the world since late 2000s. It's awesome. It is. And CW says, fiction teaches without people realizing it. Yeah, it is. That's why I like to read, though. I learn things, and especially in science fiction books, because most science fiction books are based on real science, so you learn things. You do. Chris Chrisman says, most of my viewers have wanted to learn to write, speak English better. Yeah, that's why I think a lot of people listen to the show.
Yeah.
Aren't they learning great English? Yeah, Chris Chrisman said, I learned a lot from the great sci-fi writers in the 60s and 70s. Yep, they were some good things. Buck Rogers, they predicted things in the Buck Rogers, which that was from the 30s. And yeah, science fiction, Jules Verne.
Yeah.
It's amazing the things that they thought of that now are reality. I grok.
Actually, so Heinlein now he doesn't translate into the future. People don't like him as much. He's very sexist. But when I read him, the thing that really he taught me was that a good science fiction book is a good book that has science fiction. It's right. He just wrote stories that had a science fiction component rather than turning it around. So many of the people I was reading, it seemed like talking or communicating science fiction was more important than the story itself, and Heinlein really changed my whole viewpoint of the genre. So he was the stranger in a strange land with a grok. I grok, right? I
grok. I liked Isaac Asimov. I really did.
Yeah, he was great too.
Yeah. Yep. Chris would like to know, who is your favorite sci-fi writer? I think you just answered that, right?
Those are the most influential. I'll be honest with you, I don't really read that much science fiction right now. I'm right now.
You're writing it.
Yeah, I'm reading the cop books so that I can channel that whole feeling into my new book, my new series.
Joe Conchal said, that is so true. Good writing keeps your interest no matter the genre. And that's the truth. It needs to be good writing no matter what the genre is. Heinlein was a great storyteller. Yes. Yes, he was. When I was young, it was very unusual for females to like science fiction. So I was always the odd duck because I liked it. And Chris Chrisman says, characters drive the story. I agree.
Yeah.
They do drive the story, but you need a good story.
That's true. And
your Bump series, let's bring that up again. Just let people see those covers real quick here.
Yeah. Who did your
Bump
covers
time.
for you?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Demonza.com. Damon. Well, I'm spacing on his last name. Demonza is a.
That's okay.
Yeah, if you go to demonza.com, DAMONZA, Demonza. They have really talented artists.
Yeah,
I've always been very happy with their.
So this one must be that's the time machine that they're on either side.
Yeah, that was a thought, and that these should be. One of the things I didn't like about this book is that guy's hat. I was worried that it implied an old time sense when I didn't really want that, but other than that, I really like the book cover.
Yes, so that machine looks like a Dalek, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like a Dalek. Yeah.
And we know that's not good. Daleks are not good. Oh, so Zardoz said 4 minutes, guys. We can go over. The station manager doesn't mind. Cool covers, Chris Chrisman says. Oh my goodness, they are cool. Cool covers.
They are.
They do look. It does look a little bit like Daleks, but Chris said he looked at the machine and thought time travel. Well, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it looks like a time machine.
Yeah. It is supposed to look like that.
And it could be younger and older. I mean, you could even think of it that way. So.
That's what I tried. That's what I was trying for. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of worked.
Doesn't time travel just really mess with your brain, though? I mean, it's like.
Right. So actually, in this story, it's not what I did that made it sort of different. Is it really wasn't time travel? It was timeline travel, which is going to confuse the hell out of people listening. I'm not even going to talk about it. but in the story, each one of these timelines is independent. So if one of them changed, it didn't necessarily mean that all of them changed. There could be little differences in each timeline.
Almost like multiverse.
Exactly, multiverse. That's a better word. That's a better word for it. Yeah. So it's sequence. So what's going to happen in this timeline will happen in the next one, but there can be minor differences, right?
Yeah. At that point, it then splits,
right.
Yeah. Many different ways.
So I did my best to communicate.
Roxy says, what a great show, Carter Novels. Thank you, Roxy. We appreciate it. It has been really good.
Our audience makes it a great show.
Yep, our guests and our audience.
Great participation. Yep. I've been very
That's for sure.
impressed.
Yeah.
So, Doug, do you have any advice for newbies, people that haven't gotten out there yet and they're trying to get started writing?
Boy, I wish I had good advice. It's just something you have to. It's something you have to keep working at. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill, and if you work, think about it.
A long way to go.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of years of effort, and the only way to get started is to start. Just to write.
Yeah, I think that's
one of my
running theme.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Right?
There you go.
So
never too late.
Start writing. Yeah, I know. I started writing at 57. I have 7 books out.
Yeah, that's good. Good time to start. So Chris says it's happened before and will happen again. He's talking about the timeline.
Yeah.
And James Ricard said, super fast show. It was so fast.
And fun.
It was fast. It was fun. And yeah, we almost missed some commercials there because we were too interested in what was going on.
So, want to thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great guest.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, and thanks to your audience as well.
We'll have to have you back sometime after.
Love to
get your new book out and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move you over to the side.
Okay.
There we go. I hope I didn't jolt you there.
Paul Hollis says, another fast and awesome show. Thanks, Doug, Rob, and Joan. You're welcome, and it was. And thank you guys. Joe Conjal says, love the show. Super fast hour. It really was. And thank all of you and all that you contributed.
Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate our guests and our audience so much.
A couple of things to talk about. This Saturday, episode Rewind will be episode 26. Author PJ Mann.
Oh.
From, where was she?
Well, she's Italian, but she lives in Finland.
Yeah,
now.
We interviewed her in Finland. We weren't in Finland. Let me be clear about that. She was in Finland. We were not. But that's at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 Saturday evening. This coming Saturday, right here where you're watching right now, you can watch. And it was really a good show. We really enjoyed talking with her.
Yeah, very nice person.
Next Wednesday, June 1st, at 7:00, another live show with our guest will be Beam Weeks, the other half of Beam Weeks, and Gary Gies, reading some of his book right now. One of his books. He's got several books, Slivers of Life, some good old down-home short stories that are pretty fast read. It's a good one. I recommend it. And we want to remind everybody to, if you haven't started reading the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles yet, I'm working on one. I'm waiting on number 2. It'll be coming out. It's out already.
Which one you're working on? Mention which book.
Well, I am. One is Death Wears a Crimson Hat by none other than C.W. Hawes. And I'm partway through. I'm enjoying it immensely as well. I haven't been reading in a long time, and now I'm reading 2 books at the same time. Got one in one hand, one in the other. It's terrible. But anyway, Beam Weeks will be with us next week. You want to join us then. Then as soon as he's done, he's going to hop off and go to his Voice of Indie podcast. So it's going to be kind of a quick show there.
It'll be 1 hour for sure.
It'll be, we'll keep it to 1 hour for him. So let's see. What else? Do you have anything else you would like to talk about?
No, I think I'm done.
You done? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I guess.
CW said thanks. You're welcome, CW.
You are welcome. So until next time.
That's all, folks.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.